it's witchcraft. It's wonderful, and I love it so much. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kristin, and if you're new here, this is a corner of the internet where I come at you every other week or so and share what I've been making. I do a lot of knitting, I do a lot of crochet, I do a lot of quilting, bead weaving. Lately there's been a heck of a lot of floor loom weaving, rigid Heddle loom weaving. I do it all. So if that's something that you're into, if you are multi-craftual, you are in good company. Grab a cup of something and let's get into things. Just a couple of housekeeping notes as per usual. Thank you so much for bearing with me on my last episode. If you tuned in, I was filming at another location down in my living room where the sun was just out of control, guys. It was unhinged. The sun was just going, it was late in the day. I wanted to record in front of my floor loom just to get kind of like give you guys a visual of like what I'm talking about. But it was just the wrong time of day to hit the record button. So thank you so much for bearing with me and dealing with that situation. It feels great to be back in my craft room recording where I can control the light, and it is a gloomy overcast day, which again is chef's kiss perfection for recording. We are here for it. But totally forgot to charge my little orb back there. But you know what? We're making it work. We're making it work. Oh yeah, you can now find me on Blue Sky and Substack. Those are two new social media avenues you can now follow me on if you so desire to. Again, if you can't handle another social media, totally get you. You don't have to follow me over there. Those are just other options. And while I'm not leaving Instagram yet, there are just some aspects of it that I'm over. So, you know, there is still a place for Instagram, but I'm dipping my toes into greener pastures, if you will. So yes, you can now find me on Blue Sky, and you can also find me on Substack, Substack is something, I don't know, guys. I have good vibes about Substacks. I mean, you can do anything on there. You can post tweet-like posts, you can blog over there, you can upload video, you can upload podcasts. I mean, pick your poison essentially over there. So I'm still feeling these spaces out, but I'm really liking what they're doing. And again, there's like no algorithm. You follow somebody, you're gonna see them in your feed, and it's great. I'm all for that. So, you know, if you feel so inclined to, I'll pop it in the down bar down here and in the description box down below where you can follow me over there. But I'm having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun over on Blue Sky and Substack, and I would love it. I would love it so much if you could follow me over there. Yeah, it's just a really fun place to be right now. So yes, all right. I think that is all the housekeeping notes I wanted to chat about. And guys, can we talk about my coffee mug this week? How cool is that? It says Stitch Witch, and my friend Tara gifted this to me the other day for my birthday. I mean, of course, my birthday was last month, but you know, we got together and she had a little surprise for me. So Tara, if you're watching, thank you so much. I love this mug. It is awesome. It is housing one of my favorite coffees ever, Stumptown Hairbender, with some oat milk and a packet of stevia. So cheers. Okay, so we've got, or royal we, I've got a lot to share with you this week, as per usual. So let's get on to finished objects, because my friends, we have a new finished pair of socks. These are my Christmas Eve cast-on socks. I completely forgot to talk about my Christmas Eve cast-on, but when Dennis and I flew to Amsterdam, it was Christmas. We flew out Christmas Eve, and cast on a pair of socks on the plane, and only now just finished them. So, you know, again, like these projects, you know, slow and steady wins the race, you know. But these are knit out of my hand-dyed yarns, Voolenvine yarns, on my new Vo base, which is a superwash 100% superwash merino single ply yarn, fingering weight. And I will be completely honest, guys, this is the first time I ever knit a pair of socks with my new Vo base. Typically, I reserve 100% superwash for garments and accessories like shawls and hats or whatever. And I avoid knitting, or I haven't knit socks with this yarn because it doesn't have any nylon content in it. So the nylon kind of gives an element of sturdiness. So if you're hard wearing on your socks and you want to wear your hand knit socks every day, the nylon kind of acts as a reinforcement, to prevent any fraying or wear and tear. My Nouveau base does not have any nylon content. It's just 100% superwash merino. But I really, really like the way that these knit up as socks because they are so soft. And when you're knitting with it, you don't really feel it, but after you block it, it's just, these are going to be the coziest house socks. I love them so much. And the colorway is called Mermaid. This was a new colorway that I dyed up for the holiday season, and yeah, it just kind of reminded me of a Merry Mermaid. Look at that. Look at those pops of berry. That's what really gets me, guys. I love those like random pops of berry and whatnot. So yeah, there we go. New pair of socks, guys. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say. Yeah, again, I have a free sock knitting pattern out there. I will link to it down below. It's a free pattern, and I include a heel to knit a reinforced heel flap and heel turn. However, when I travel or if I'm just casting socks on the fly, I always default to the Fish Lips Kiss Heel by Socks Therapist, which is I believe it's a $1 pattern download. I will, again, all the links down in the description box below. But yeah, for $1, it's a really, really fun, efficient, memorizable heel option for your socks. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, it's called the Fish Lips Kiss Heel because the stitches in the center, I don't know how well you can see that, but they kind of look like two little fish lips kissing. So I believe that's probably why she called it the Fish Lips Kiss Heel. But yeah, I usually default to this heel just because I have it memorized. Whereas the heel that I include in my favorite socks pattern has, the heel flap and turn. That requires memorizing specific numbers for certain points. So I'm sure like if I were to like continually knit the same pair of socks over and over again, I think it's just like 2 numbers that I have to memorize for turning the heel. But I'm lazy, so I just default to the Fish Lips Kiss Heel. So yay, finished pair of socks. And because I know I'm going to be asked about my sock blockers, these are Bryson sock blockers. I picked these up from, I believe it was theloopyu.com or Jimmy Bean's Wool online. I'll link to them below, but yeah, these are really great for, blocking your socks because they have there's like just air in between, so it makes it for a quicker dry. So yeah, those are my finished socks. All right, let's talk about weaving because I do have a lot of weaving content for you this week, no surprise. And if you've been tuning into the past few episodes, you know that this whole weaving thing has been a huge learning curve for me. There have been high points and very low points where I've just, been super excited and I've had a lot of aha moments and a lot of moments where I just wanted to scream and throw my rigid Heddle loom across the room. Not that happened, but there were very frustrating moments. And a couple weeks ago, I was really down on myself because I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to weave herringbone stitch on the rigid Heddle loom. And as I showed you guys in one of the episodes, my rigid Heddle loom can accommodate 2 reeds, so essentially 2 shafts, but you need 2 extra shafts to create a twill weave. So that's what I did. I rigged it up. However, I think I could have done some things a little bit better, but it was just, the whole process was very frustrating. I, wasn't getting it. So I just decided to cut my losses with the rigid Heddle loom and wait until I finished assembling my floor loom to attempt a twill weave or herringbone stitch. So fast forward, I made it happen, guys. I made herringbone stitch happen, and here we are. So, technically this is not a finished object, but the weaving part is finished. It was supposed to be a scarf, but I ran into a little issue with slaying the loom. Again, this is a total learning curve for me, so I'm learning and I'm giving myself grace. I'm being very patient with myself because getting frustrated does no one any good. So, I went with the flow. I just really wanted to get the feel of weaving herringbone. I don't know why, I wanted to make the zigzags. There's something about the zigzags that I wanted to make happen, and I did it. I did it, guys. Very, very pleased with myself. So, you know, while this is, and actually, you know, I did wet block it, and it loosened up quite a bit. It does have a lot, like a more significant drape than it did when I took it right off the loom. And the yarn that I used, just to remind you, is Patons Evermore. Yes, Patons Evermore, which is a recycled wool and acrylic blend, and it's really, really beautiful. It was so nice to work with, and I could totally see getting some more skeins of this. There, you can see it better now, but I used two contrasting colors. One is a dark charcoal and one is a light gray, and both have these really fun flecks of tweed. They're like pink and blue, got some white and black ones in there. It's just really, it has a really fun texture to it. And I am kind of bummed that the drape didn't turn out as I hoped. It was just a calculation mistake on my part, because again, like I had also signed up for Jane Stafford's online course on weaving, and she shows you how to do warps per inch and decide and figure out set, but I warped more ends than my loom could accommodate, so I had to kind of cram in my ends into the reed size that I have. Anyway, I'm doing a terrible job of explaining it, but I messed up and I just went with the flow. So we ended up with this, and now that it's blocked, I think, you know, well, I'm probably not going to turn it into a scarf. I am probably going to cut it up and make some project bags with it, because I think this would make, you know, it does have a nice sturdiness to it, where I think it would be a really nice kind of project bag outside, you know, and then get some, maybe like if you do it like this and then get some like leather vinyl for the base, it could be really cool. And a really nice, funky, chunky zipper, you know? So yeah, this was my very first maiden voyage with Marie Antoinette, my floor loom. She's a Harrisville Designs A6 floor loom, which, by the way, guys, I did a little research, and this loom, if my sources are correct, it was made in the 1980s. So me and the floor loom are probably about the same age, in our 40s. Yes. Oh my goodness. So we are kindred spirits, and it feels like we are becoming kindred spirits because my friends, I have a new project on the loom, which I will get to in a little bit. But while we are still on the topic of finished objects, I thought I would talk a little bit about beading. You know, mix it up a little bit, mix things up. So you've been hearing like this jingling while I've been talking the whole time, and that's my new bracelet that I finished. Let me see if I can scoot in. So yeah, I've got a new finished beaded bracelets. This is the Cornucopia bracelet pattern by Wiseman Designs. And guys, how stinking fun is this? It's just exactly what the name suggests. It's just like a cornucopia mixed bag of beads, you know? It's really cool. And here's the clasp. So what she has you do is create 2 brick stitch triangles. And you basically add your clasp to the triangles, and then you basically just weave zigzag. Here, I'll take it off so you can see. Super easy, super easy. Let me tell you. So once you have your triangles, you weave a new, about an arm's length of fire line thread into one end of the triangle, and then you string on your beads in whatever order that pleases you. Attach it to one brick on the end of the other side of the triangle, and loop it up, stranding your beads, loop around, strand some beads, loop around, strand some more beads, all the way until you get to the end, and you have a bracelet. And these beads, oh my gosh, guys, these are just like beads that I've been collecting since I started bead weaving. A lot of them are from my Potomac bead subscription and also dollar bead box that I've been getting. And, you know, some of them I'm just kind of like, you know, what the heck am I going to do with them? And some of them I'm just like, I don't know if these are my style, like particularly the ones that look kind of like these green goober Slimer blob things. Like, I mean, it's all check glass, but you know, when I got these in a Potomac subscription box, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna ever use those. But you know, once I had all these beads just kind of mishmashed around on my table, looking at them, seeing what went together, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. This kind of adds to the color palette and it just brings the whole picture together, you know? Don't look at, I don't know, it's off camera right now, but my beading table, all right, I'll show you guys. It's a nightmare. Look at that. It's a nightmare. It's Area 51. I need to go through there and organize it again because it's just, it's overwhelming. It's very, very overwhelming. I mean, talk about a great gift for somebody. I mean, this came together super quickly. I mean, 2 hours maybe. Yeah, it's just so fun. And just to give you guys a closer look, we've got some, again, these are all check glass beads. I've got some daggers in there. I've got some black tulips. I think, what do you call it? Potomac Beads had their Witch's Brew mix on sale. So I got like 2 bags of those and had those in my stash. Just like a whole mix of like black butterflies, black tulips, and, you know, other really pretty witchy, gothy check glass beads. And we've got the green goobers. There's some seashells. Got some pearls, freshwater pearls. Yeah, I'm in love. This was a really fun project. So still bead weaving, you know? Okay, she's back on the wrist. So really fun, you know? I'm like a walking maraca. Anyway, so yes, I am still bead weaving and having a lot of fun with it. And I don't know how I do it, guys. I usually get some comments from you where like, how do you get it all done? How do you manage to find so much time to craft? I honestly don't know, guys. Well, I kind of do know because I work from home, so I basically make my own schedule and, you know, I find little pockets of time, little pockets of downtime to sit and craft, and it's, I feel so lucky that I'm able to do that. I know not many people have that luxury of, you know, working from home and making their own schedule, and, you know, craft time comes at a premium, so, you know, I, you know, definitely do not take it for granted. I'm very lucky and grateful that I can do that. So, yes. So anyway, I think that is all for finished objects this week. So let's talk works in progress because I have 2 new projects on my loom. So the rigid Heddle, I have her right here. I haven't named her. I have not named my rigid Heddle. I have 2. I have the 10-inch and I have the 16-inch. I have the 16-inch right here, so I have to think about what I'm going to name her. But here she is. I'll lift her up so you can see. This is always fun. So she has some of my hand-dyed yarn warped on her right now. So I don't know if these colorways look familiar, but I recently dyed a colorway collection called the Gothic Bouquet, and I just fell in love with the color combo that I had to use them. And here, let me see. There we go. So this is my 16-inch rigid Heddle loom, and the scarf on here I think is going to be about like a 14 to 15-inch scarf. I'm following a draft from Handwoven magazine. I forget which issue, but again, links down below. It's called Zebras of the Serengeti. Such a funny name, but I think the designer named it after the colorway or the yarn that she was using. So the scarf ended up being called that. And it looks complicated, but this is all just plain weave. It's plain weave using the color and weaving technique. So what color and weave essentially is, let me briefly, oh gosh, how am I gonna, okay. Mischief managed. So what color and weave is, it's basically weaving with color warped in a particular sequence. So a lot of tartans, a lot of plaids are considered color and weave, and you know, it's just how you organize your color placement on the warp, if that makes any sense, or the order in which you warp your yarn using different colors. So for this one, lift her up again, and there goes my rigid Heddle. So there. So for this one, I warped the majority of the warp using one color, and then for the end over here, I alternated between 2 different colors. And I direct warped this, so I didn't use a warping board. I just warped this directly onto the loom. So yeah, just warping back and forth with the same color. And then once I got to the end, I warped alternating these 2 colorways. And then when it comes to actually weaving for the weft, so warp is up and down, weft is back and forth. The weft is what the shuttle does. It goes back and forth, back and forth. So when it comes to actually weaving the weft, you are basically doing the same thing. You're weaving back and forth in the same colorway, and then once you get to a certain point, you can alternate between different colorways back and forth, and it creates a tartan or a plaid look, which is really, really cool because it looks super complicated, but it's really not. So that is going well. And it's just, again, plain weave. It's very relaxing, very chill. And the great thing about the pattern, the designer says, it's very, random, it's like just add the colors in as you please, when you want, when the spirit moves you, So the yarn that I'm using is, again, Voolenvine yarns, my hand-dyed yarns, on my Volca base, which is German for cloud, in 3 different colors. So this one is Nevermore, just a really fun gray, gothy, gray purple, I want to say. And then for the dark, I'm using Black Orchid, which is this really rich, deep, kind of like purple plum, if you will. And then for the lighter shade, the white, I'm using Solstice, which is an off-white with shaded areas of sandy brown and then speckled with black. So, as opposed to using just pure white, I figured this would add a really cool kind of texture dimension to the whole look, So yeah, these are the 3 colors, and I'm totally going to have to wind another skein of Nevermore, Nevermore. So yeah, that's what I'm using. Very, very excited about that. And yeah, Volca is my merino nylon cashmere base, so it's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, how luxurious, and nylon. So it does have some sturdiness to it. It does have an extra, it can take a little bit of wear and tear. And it's weaving up beautifully. Oh my goodness, like I'm feeling it right now. It feels so incredibly, I'm not lying, guys. I'm not tuning my own horn, but it does feel very soft. And I know when I wet block this, the fibers, they're just gonna bloom and fill in, and it's gonna be so soft. It's gonna be so nice. Yeah, scratching that itch, guys. Scratching that itch. So, yeah, that is one weaving project on the go. The next I do not have here in this craft room because it's downstairs in the living room, and that is currently on Marie Antoinette. So after I finished weaving my herringbone scarf thing, I immediately decided to dress my loom with a completely different project. And, instead, you're probably thinking, Kristin, you're probably going to want to try something simple, just ease your way in. No, my friends, no. I decided to take on shadow weaving. Yes, shadow weaving is a weaving technique where it plays with lights and darks, and it's it's a challenge, guys. Though I think by now I have the swing of it, and I'm super excited about it. I just dove right in, and shadow weaving is really, really cool because when looking down on it, it's like a Monet painting. When you're up close at a Monet painting, it's all dots, it's all just, paint strokes and whatever. But when you're standing far away from it, you can see the whole picture. That's kind of what shadow weaving is, because, I feel like I'm sort of kind of blindly just weaving along with the draft to an extent, because looking down at what I'm weaving, I can't really see the pattern, but if I step away and look at it from an angle, I can see the pattern emerging. And you're probably thinking, what's the point of that, Kristin? Because the magic of wet blocking. Once I wet block it, all those fibers are going to shrink in on each other and the pattern will emerge. I know, it's witchcraft. It's wonderful, and I love it so much. Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm ridiculously hyper right now. I'm functioning on a cup of coffee, and I have an alternative can of Diet Coke here. This is my second can of the morning. Why do I do this to myself? I don't know. But yeah, so for this project, I am using size 8-2 cotton, Maurice Brassard. In the knitting world, you could call this lace weight. It's essentially lace weight, and dare I say, even skinnier than lace weight yarn. It is very, very fine cotton, 100%. And it took me quite a while to warp. I used the warping board, and I warped it. I actually had to mount my warping board out in the hallway of our house. So like there's a craft room and then there's the main hallway of the upstairs. So I didn't have a wall here to really mount it on because it's very physical. You're going back and forth, and you need some elbow room to do that. Let me show you my warping board. Where's my warping board? So here's my tiny but mighty warping board. And you know, it could easily fit on that wall over there, but I don't want to bang in. I love the wallpaper. I don't want to damage the William Morris wallpaper. So took it out into the hallway, got some command hooks, tacked those onto the wall, and just hung it up on the wall so I could just, you know, be free to move back and forth, and warp my yarn, or whatever you want to call it. Again, still learning the terminology, but we're making it happen. Dennis wasn't all too pleased about that, you know, because it doesn't look pretty in the hallway, but if we have company, because they are command hooks, I can just pop them off the wall and remount it when I need to, you know? So it all works out. Everyone's happy. Everyone's a winner. So anyway, where was I? So for this project, for this shadow weaving project, I'm actually working from another pattern from Handwoven magazine. If you haven't gathered, I found their website. It's really wonderful. I highly suggest you check it out. They have a whole database of, you know, past patterns, past issues, and lo and behold, I stumbled on the Shadowplay kitchen towels. I just really like the design. It seemed like a, you know, total doable pattern. And with my last order from the woolery, with some tools that I needed, I happened to purchase a couple of cones of 8-2 cotton. This, again, it's Maurice Brassard 8-2 mercerized. Is it mercerized cotton? No, it's not mercerized. It's just 100% cotton. Yeah, so it was just like the planets aligned. It seemed like the perfect project. And, you know, as you know, I love a good challenge. So we're making it happen. We're making it happen. I did, you know, again, it is a learning curve. So I'm just getting used to reading weaving drafts and the order in which you read them. So my first attempt, like once I had the loom warped and dressed, my first go at the draft, I messed up a little bit. So, you know, just started over. I didn't have to redress the loom. I just, you know, did plain weave a couple of rows and then started the draft over from the beginning. Of course, I probably won't be able to weave a total of four towels as the draft is designed for. But, you know, again, if I just end up with 3, great. I'll be happy. I'll be so happy. But now it's going. It's smooth sailing. It's not compared to knitting. There, you know how some knitting patterns are intuitive. This one, it's kind of like all hands on deck. So I have the draft taped to my loom. I have some painter's tape highlighting like where I am in the draft. So every time I weave a couple of rows or picks, as they're called, after I do a couple of picks, I remove the painter's tape and scoot it down on the draft. So I'm making it workable for myself. Like right now on the loom, it doesn't look like anything spectacular. It's kind of, you know, is my weaving too loose? Is the thread count off? But again, like once you wet block it, once I throw it into the washing machine and it gets, you know, a little, it gets a little agitated, it's going to shrink down on itself and that pattern is going to come through apparently. So yeah. And in case you're wondering, for the warp, I used these 2 colors. So you got, I think this is salmon and this one's cayenne pepper. I don't know. This combo spoke to me. I think it was around Valentine's Day, so I'm like, yeah, let's go with that. And then for the weft, I'm using these 2 colorways. So this one I think is like sienna or burnt orange, or it's kind of like a brown. Just like an orangey, burnt brown, if you will. And it's really, I don't know, these 3 colors just go really well together. So anyway, loving the way that's going. So I think that's all I have to say about that project right now. But yeah, guys, I love weaving. It's so much fun. I'm having a blast. I'm having a great time. You know, I know some of you out there are, you know, mentioned that you're thinking about getting into weaving. Again, like it is, I don't know how to describe it, but it's definitely an investment of time and money. But if you are interested in getting into weaving and you're just not sure, there are some small lap looms out there, like on Amazon. I will link to some down below, that are very inexpensive. You know, it's just a very tactile, you know, small thing that you can just, you know, easily dip your toes and see if it's for you. And then also the rigid Heddle loom. So the one that I showed you again is the 16-inch rigid Heddle loom. It's a little bit bigger than the smaller one that I have that's 10-inch, but the 10-inch loom, let me go get it. It's right over here. Okay, so this is the 10-inch rigid Heddle loom. So she's small, you know, she can fit in your lap. You can take her around the house. You can even take her on vacation in the car. She's tiny but mighty. And I think, you know, she is an investment, but if you're not into the lap loom and you want to play around with more complex weaves, I mean, you know, this does have its limits, but you can definitely rig it up to do some more advanced techniques. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how to do that myself, but she is simple, she is small, but she is capable of so much potential you have, right? Do you talk to your tools? So, you know, I would definitely recommend this, you know, if you are interested in getting into the type of weaving that I'm doing, you know, before, of course, like a floor loom. Floor loom is huge. It is a piece of furniture. I mean, thankfully it looks beautiful, but, you know, that is a serious investment. I was so lucky that my mother-in-law gifted that to me and I felt ready. But, you know, again, dipping your toes. This is the Ashford 10-inch Sample It loom. Ideally, this loom is actually meant for, you know, obviously beginners, but also, you know, even though I feel like I'm beyond newbie beginner right now, I can still use this to sample yarns that I want to use for a larger project. So before starting a new project on my floor loom, I can whip up a quick little swatch, if you will, on this guy, or gal. We have to name you too. We have to name you too. We will figure out a name for you. So yeah, those are my looms. That's the weaving situation. Now, where do I put you? So that said, I think that is all I have to share with you this week, guys. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me. If you made it this far, if you haven't already, please feel free to like and subscribe down below. I'm putting out videos for your viewing pleasure every 2 weeks. However, if you would like more from yours truly, I do publish a weekly bonus vlog for channel members. So if you'd like to support this channel, you can do that by clicking the join button down below. And for the price of a monthly fancy schmancy cup of coffee, you can gain access to bonus features, including my bonus vlog and an invite to our private Facebook group. And yeah, again, follow me over on Substack and Blue Sky. Having a lot of fun over there. It's just, again, it's just kind of like a breath of fresh air, just to come back to the roots of social media. It's more fun. It's less, yeah, a lot less doom scrolling, you know? So anyway, thank you. Thank you so much again for being here. Have a wonderful weekend, happy making, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.